61A lecture number 31, announcements. Homework 8 is due Friday. There are some office hours on Friday. Normally there are very few, but this week we'll have some since homework is due. There are no in-person discussion sections this week because Thursday is a holiday. There are 3 Zoom sections available. You can go on Piazza to find a post that tells you what the Zoom links are. There will also be a video walkthrough of the discussion worksheet. And all students will receive attendance credit for this week's discussion section. So don't go to discussion, but you can go to one of these Zoom-based discussions if you want to ask questions about the discussion material, which I hope you do. It's a good idea to go through it because I think it will help you get ready for the SCHEME project, which is posted. It's due not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday afterward. But you do need to get started by next Tuesday because that's when checkpoint 1 is due. Checkpoint 2 is due on Friday, and this is the big one. So most of your work on this project will happen next week. And then the whole project will be the Tuesday after that, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I now wanted to tell you about something completely optional, but that I'm very excited about. A project showcase for 61A. Not for 61A projects that we assign, but for projects that you come up with yourself. So, if you want to extend the course material in any kind of way that you want, build upon one of the course projects something new, build something entirely new that was inspired by 61A, or show your peers some cool thing you've been working on outside of class that involves 61A concepts, we're going to have a showcase, which is like a project fair. We'll have people sitting at desks and other people wandering around, learning about the cool projects that 61A students have worked on outside of the required material. So, mark your calendars for noon to 3 on Tuesday of RRR week. Whether you are presenting something or not, you can come and check out all the cool work that students from this course do. However, there is no course credit for participating. There is no extra credit for participating. There will be awards. And these awards will not help your grade in this course, but you could certainly put them on your resume. And we're still creating the list of awards that we will assign, but we hope to release that to you soon. And it won't be the case that just one project gets an award. We hope to give out several. We do need to know whether you want to show people a project by Monday of the last week of classes. This is after Thanksgiving, so that we have an idea of how much space we need and how many tables, things like that. So if you've been working on something already, or you're thinking about some idea that you had and you might want to spend a little bit of time building it out, this is a great place to present it and you might just win an award. A separate update is that I've now posted information about A+ grades. It is possible to get an A+ in this course. There are 300 points and you have to get all 300 in order to get an A+. Now, of course, you could lose a few points and get some back due to early submission and other extra credit opportunities. But in order to be eligible for an A+, you do need to have 300 points. But that doesn't mean you get an A+. You also have to write a small but interesting piece of code related to CS61A and submit it by the end of RRR week. We will then read your code, combine the assessment of your code with your total points in the course, and that will determine whether you get an A, which is great, or an A+, which is also great. And we hope to have the submission form, the rubric, and the examples soon. So does this mean you have to do extra work to get an A+? Well, maybe. A lot of students have already done this. If you've ever entered an optional contest, you could just submit some interesting snippet of code from your contest entry. Even if you didn't win the contest, you might have done something interesting, and that can help move you toward an A+. But you can also extend one of the projects that we gave you. For example, the SCHEME project has some optional problems at the end. Those are good places to look for opportunities to show us a small snippet of interesting code. Or you could develop something entirely new. Perhaps it would be part of your entry into the project showcase. Students who are doing something interesting to get an A+ are certainly encouraged to participate in the project showcase. But it's not like you have to participate in the project showcase to get an A+. It doesn't help you. The project showcase is just for fun, and it's not just for students who might get an A+. The project showcase is for everybody. So if you want to know more, read this update to the syllabus, which describes a bit more detail about how things will be scored, and even more detail will be available when we give you the submission form, rubric, and a few examples of small but interesting pieces of code. Finally, Lecture 32's playlist, which is Friday's lecture, won't be posted on Friday because I don't have time to make the videos by then. So instead, I'll post the lecture videos on Sunday. However, on Friday there will be the regular Zoom lecture, so I would recommend just attending that or watching the video recording of that if you don't want to wait until Sunday. Today's lecture will also help you with the Scheme project, but with only very specific parts of it. Question 11 describes a special form that you've never heard of yet, but you will today. And the extra credit problem describes an interesting feature of interpreters that you could implement if you want, and we'll give you some guidance in today's lecture for how to go about it. Everything else in the project you should already know how to do, and so now is a good time to get started on the Scheme project so that you can submit part 1 by next Tuesday, parts 2 and 3 by next Friday, and have the whole thing done a week from Tuesday.